Hi everyone, welcome back to the Geterbrewed channel. So we did a Q&A with CUAN, see what we did. I know.
Still doing that.
Slow drum beat, yeah. This is part two where we take, where CUAN takes some brewing terms, bounces them in questions off me, and I try my best where possible to answer them. So what have we got this time?
All right, went through a couple of different things that I've heard around what you've been talking about in some of your previous videos. A lambic ale.
Lambic is generally known as beers that would be produced in the Belgium region, like farmhouse ales, but they're different in the way that they're produced because they're usually spontaneously fermented. So what would happen is you would get, talk about the word cool ship, where you would get your wort, put it into the cool ship, run that outside, or let the elements come in, cool it naturally, and let the bugs get in to spontaneously ferment the wort, creating a lambic style ale. So lambic beer is something we love, and we've just put some oak foeders into our brewery, and hopefully very soon we'll be doing a spontaneously fermented beer.
Okay, that sounds good. Pasteurization?
Oh, pasteurization. Probably best described as heat treatment, in that the beer, once packaged, usually is put through a pasteurization tunnel, and that's producing heat to heat up the liquid inside. And what they're trying to do is get the liquid above 73 degrees, which is pasteurization limit, and then it basically gives better shelf stability for export beers and things like that there. It's usually measured in PU units.
Okay, PU units.
PU.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mouthfeel.
Mouthfeel is a descriptor for beer. So for example, New England IPAs, they would talk about a pillowy mouthfeel, and how that's created is with the water treatment and the yeast and the adjuncts and the malt. So it all comes together to produce a specific type of mouthfeel. So the mouthfeel for New England would be pillowy.
Okay. Complexity?
Good question, in that complexity would refer to, in my opinion, the likes of lambic and wild beers, where you would talk about the flavour is complex. So you get layers of flavour, and you get that across all of your palate. So you would taste complexity, and usually complexity in beer is created through age. So aging of beer to create that complexity. Now you can do that with different styles of malts and things like that there as well, but it's just a descriptor of beer again.
Right. Bottom or top fermenting yeasts or fermentation?
Again, probably, yeah, good question. General rule of thumb would be that bottom fermentation is carried out by lager yeasts.
Okay.
Usually at a cooler temperature, and obviously then top fermentation would be usually ale yeasts. So you would know from doing the homebrew videos and stuff with us, like bottom fermenting yeast ferments at the bottom, stays at the bottom, whereas top fermenting ale yeast forms a carousing at the top of the wort. So. Okay.
And is that to do with lagers being brewed colder and ales being brewed warmer?
I think it's just the style of yeast that, a bottom fermenting yeast usually generically is at a lower temperature, which lower temperature fermentations are lager. So yes,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, dextrins.
Ooh, dextrins are sugars basically. Like dextrin, to me, there's a dextrin malt. So dextrin, I would say dextrin malt adds mouthfeel and body.
Okay. So like maltodextrin.
Maltodextrin again, yeah, adds body. Yeah, same thing. So dextrins are sugars, but they're body builders. So.
Okay. All right. Finings.
Finings is a broad subject. So you would have finings for kettle finings, for example, where you'd hear us talking about Irish moss or protoflock or werflock. We add it into the kettle to fine the kettle. Then there would be process aids. Can nearly speak. Process aids further down the line, where you would have finings like isinglass, which is basically fish guts, and it's used to clear yeast out of beer. So finings are all about fining and creating clarity.
Okay,
and
almost refining.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Where are we? RBU.
IBU
Or you be me.
or you be me.
Yeah, okay. RBU.
Right, I'll be you. International Bittering Units is what it stands for. So whenever you're designing a recipe and say the style calls for 50 IBUs, so 50 International Bittering Units, when you go to aim for that, you would use the alpha acids and the type of hops and when you add them to calculate what your IBUs is going to be. So usually if I'm doing that, I would use a brewing calculator, and I would go on and input the addition time and the alpha acid of the hop, and then that'll work out the IBUs for you.
So the higher RBUs, the more bitter the beers are. All right.
So I don't think we've ever brewed anything commercially in our own brewery over 60 or 70 IBUs.
Okay. All right. EBC.
EBC is just basically colour. So there's different ways that you can grade malt, and EBC would be, is it European Brewing Convention it stands for? And the higher the number, the darker the colour.
The more roasted. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Secondary fermentation.
Secondary would be an option. So it's not necessary. So primary fermentation is taking place and they talk about transferring to secondary. It's just conditioning.
Okay.
You don't have to do it, but if you do it, you know, you'd hear the American homebrew forums and stuff chatting about transferring to secondary, and that would usually be a carboy where they put the beer in there to condition for a couple of weeks before it goes to packaging. Okay.
All right. Okay, so let's do that again because I wasn't listening.
Yeah, the whole thing.
No, let's start from the top.
A Q&A is just an opportunity for CUAN to bounce questions off me to build his knowledge. He came here as a graphic designer. He's worked on the warehouse floor. He's started brewing. He's picked up, you know, the basics, but he's always asking questions, which is a very good thing. And we wanted to do this in a format that allowed you guys at home to watch and pick up some of the terminology so that you can learn and grow. And, you know, if you're reading a homebrew book or you're reading a blog online, that you understand those little weird terminologies. Is that fair to say? So if you want to give us any suggestions or comments, don't hesitate to reach out. We're all about helping the brewing community, and that's the aim of these type of videos. So thanks to CUAN, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy brewing.